How's it going, everyone? My name is True Wonder Dog, and today we're discussing how to make Kano overpowered in Mortal Kombat 11. Not the easiest task because many people do consider Kano to be below average, if not bottom tier in this game. Although if you ask me, I think Kano can get the job done, especially from a distance. He has some very fast projectiles. They recover quickly. If you enhance them, you get two. Second one's mid. He's very good from a distance. His Kano ball can whiff punish nearly anything and even interrupt the opponent as they're trying to counter zone you with their own projectiles. And then best of all, he has the air Kano ball, which of course can avoid most projectiles entirely. And if you enhance these things, they are punishable, but it's not the easiest thing to do if you're not used to doing it. So for example, this one, if you check it out, it's only -12. So if you have an 8 frame high attack or a 7 frame high attack, you gotta respond pretty quickly and know exactly when you recover to punish it. And the air one is even more frustrating because it's better. -10, and look at all this space. There are actually very few characters who can punish this with a normal attack. Noob Saibot comes to mind, but once again, you have to respond immediately because that high attack is 8 frames on startup, which means you have 2 frames to input it. You gotta be very accurate, and it's very tough to do, especially online. And Kano even has forward 3, which can also be really good for avoiding projectiles, and the range on it is quite deceptive. It's pretty much around here. That's pretty crazy. It's a mid, goes under projectiles, pretty darn good move for advancing in on the opponent. And what is it on block? Let's go ahead and check real quick. We can't trust the frame data, so let's just have the opponent block. It's -13, so it is punishable. I think that's fair. A move this good probably should be punishable, but you know what? To make him a bit overpowered, maybe change the frame data and make it safe. Maybe -6 or something. We don't want to be too crazy, but making it safe is already a pretty big deal. So from a distance, I feel like Kano can be very scary. And honestly, he's pretty deadly up close too, but there's a catch. So Kano actually does have a 50-50, unlike most characters in this game. He has a low attack, right here, that can lead to a full combo, but as you can see, it's -14 on block. And I think that's pretty fair because the overhead is only -7, which means a lot of characters can only do this. That's all they can do. Some characters don't even have a 7 frame high attack, so the most they can do is down 1 you. I don't think that's too bad. I consider that pretty fair. He has an overhead and a low, but the low is much easier to kill him for doing. Don't get me wrong, some characters like Liu Kang can straight up punish this, but since it's -7, you have to respond on frame 1, which can be pretty tricky, especially online. And honestly, I feel like every character with 50-50s should be handled this way. They should have one mix-up that just gets a knockdown, and the other one should lead to a full combo, but the one that leads to a full combo should be very punishable, or at the very least unsafe on block. And that's why a lot of people don't like using him, especially offline. This overhead is very tough to block online, but offline it is somewhat reactable, similar to Sub-Zero's overhead, so you can still react to it, especially offline. Whereas this low is almost instant. 13 frames of startup, I feel like the human eye can't catch that, which means you're gonna block low a majority of the time. And this can make Kano pretty scary in variations where he has his command grab, because instead of going for a low that you're expecting, he just does a command grab, it's unblockable and he gets some damage that way. So I feel like Kano is a fairly balanced character, but unfortunately being balanced means being mid-tier in a game like Mortal Kombat 11. So with all that out of the way, let's talk about how to make Kano overpowered, starting off with his best special moves and his preferred variation. So for starters, we have Snake Bite. If you ask any Kano mains, many of them will agree this is by far his best move in the entire game. Now sadly, you can't use it in the tournament setting or in ranked matches. It's not in either of those builds. So let's go ahead and talk about what makes this move so great. So around this distance, it's an overhead. Not too shabby. He has this, and he also has this, both of which can avoid low attacks. They will crush these moves and get that counter hit, pretty darn cool. If you want to spin some bar, it can easily start off combos or extend combos if you cancel into it. And up close, it has a mid before the overhead, so even more damage and much easier to hit confirm. So it's already a really good move, but here's what makes it really scary. Here's my low combo. Not too shabby, but that's not even the max damage combo, so check this out. Spin 1 bar, spin 2 bars. Oh, and there we go, 38%. Now it did cost me 2 bars, but that's still a lot of damage for punishing an unsafe move. And the craziness doesn't stop there, so that was a low combo starter. But if you have the manhandled ability, you can actually cancel after his overhead. Now if you look down in the bottom left, it did cost me 1 bar by default, so if I want to keep that combo going, I have to spend 2 bars. But if I do, here's the damage I get. Now it's only about 30%, which might not seem worth it for 2 bars, but that was a true 50-50. And imagine you're the opponent and you have less than 30% health, and Kano is right in your face with some frame advantage, perhaps you're getting up off the ground, and either one of these mix-ups is going to do at least 30%. And then if you do anything unsafe, how fast does this move? 9 frames? So if you do anything that's -9, he can get almost 40% with just 2 bars, which is pretty darn crazy. And you can even use this move to end combos as well. Now it will be slightly less damage, but look at this. It is plus 16 on hit, which means if you go for this low attack, they have to respect it, unless they do something invincible. Otherwise, this move will catch them for a counter hit. Not to mention this overhead is only 25 frames on startup, so 25 minus 16 is 9 frames, which means the opponent has to do something 9 frames or faster as soon as they get up, or this overhead will still catch them for a counter hit. And then if the opponent tries to throw you, that will also miss because this move is treated as airborne. And even if the opponent does start doing invincible attacks to avoid this mix-up, you can just walk backwards and whiff punish them for a crushing blow. So while Snakebite may do less damage when ending a combo, it leads to some pretty nasty setups and a really awesome meta game. So as you can see, this move Snakebite is pretty darn good. The only downside I notice is that you have to have the manhandled ability, otherwise you can't actually special cancel this overhead, and that will take up your final variation slot. So to make him even more overpowered, perhaps make Snakebite only 1 slot instead of 2. That would certainly make him much more powerful, because then you could have lumbar check, which would give you an unblockable as a mix-up and also a great way to end combos, especially if you have 1 bar remaining. And honestly, for online play, that's really all you need, because once again, with the rollback or some bad ping, this overhead can be almost unreactable, and the low is pretty much instant, so you have a true 50-50 character similar to Sonya, only with a bit less damage, and he requires a bit more bar to kill you, but he can still do it in just a couple of mix-ups. However, one more nice change that could go towards making Kano overpowered is to change the crushing blow requirements for Penal Colony. So this crushing blow is a bit ridiculous. It requires the opponent to block late. I feel like this crushing blow should work on counter hit or as a whiff punish, and that would make this move much better. Not even overpowered on its own, just fair if you want my honest opinion. Alright, and there you go everyone, making Kano overpowered in 3 easy steps. Step 1, give him access to Snakebite for some crazy mix-up combos. Step 2, make Snakebite only 1 slot, or find some other way to make it cancel this move without having to have the manhandled ability. That way it only takes up 2 slots by itself without the need for that extra ability. That way you can still keep his lumbar check command grab for even more mix-ups. And finally, for step 3, make his Penal Colony crushing blow a bit easier to land. Because right now the requirements are a bit ridiculous if you ask me. I was testing it quite a lot for just this video, and the opponent has to block within about 2 to 5 frames. It's pretty ridiculous and very unlikely to happen, especially at high level. So I think it would make a lot more sense for it to be a whiff punish or a counter hit, or even landing it twice in a row, something like that. Once again, I'm by no means a Kano main, so please tell me down below what changes you would like to see to make this character better, if not overpowered. And while you're down there, please also comment which character you want next for this series. Because a lot of you seem to really like this series, which is awesome because I don't actually have to put Mortal Kombat 11 in the title for it to still be enticing. For anyone who's not aware, YouTube will demonetize any video I make that has Mortal Kombat 11 in the title, description, tags, anything like that. I will get demonetized right away. So right now, my main trick for avoiding that is to just exclude Mortal Kombat 11 from any of those things, and the video does stay monetized. However, I did recently learn some new tricks from some other YouTubers as well that I do want to try in the future. Because as you might imagine, having to exclude Mortal Kombat 11 from the title and tags does mean a lot less views. So if you do enjoy my content and you feel like supporting me, please check out my Patreon. Not only do I tell you what videos I'll be uploading in advance, but I also have new drawings every week as well. So please feel free to check that out if you enjoy what I do. If you enjoyed watching this video, then you might also enjoy my How Terrible is Kano video. That video goes a lot more in depth on why people think that Kano is mid-tier or even bottom tier, breaking down all of his moves for each tournament variation. So if you're a huge fan of Kano and you want to main him, or maybe you just have a passing interest and you're curious about Kano, please feel free to check out that video as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below, it really does help my channel out a ton. And then while you're down there, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell? That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.